Hi. In January of 2016, the CDC here in the United States, the Center for Disease Control, has released the results of a survey done on sexual identity, sexual attraction, and sexual behavior. They have done a previous study, and when you compare the two numbers, you'll see that almost every single one of the numbers throughout the survey is the same, except for one small category. In which category is that? The number of people who identify as bisexual. It's gone up. It's gone up a lot. So much so that this is the first study I've ever seen where bisexual men outnumber gay men. And this is important. I'm not just picking on gay men. Think about the number of gay men reflected in society, the number of characters that are on TV shows. Think about the gay events that you've seen that are dominated by gay men. Think about the gay clubs. Think about the gay bars. And yet, keep in mind that the number of people who identify as bisexual men outnumber the number of men who identify as gay. It's a big thing. Not only that, but the number of bisexual women have gone up. So let's really put this in perspective. So gay men outnumber lesbians, right? Bisexual men now outnumber gay men. Now, bisexual women outnumber lesbians, gay men, and bisexual men combined. They are the majority of the LGBT community by a lot. So previously, whereas bisexual men were somewhere around 1.3% of all men, now they represent 2% of men. And now, and previously, bisexual women represented 3.9% of all women. Now they represent 5.5% of women. So combined, bisexual men and women more than double the number of gay and lesbians combined. That's big news. That's rather big news. But that's not the only interesting things about the study. The study looked at not only identity, but it also looked at sexual attraction. So when you're looking at people who fall in the bisexual spectrum, you're looking at sexual attraction, because identity, anyone can say anything they want to say, describe themselves how they want to describe themselves. But sexual attraction is where it really falls. And there's a couple of categories for this survey that they call out. That is, of course, people only attracted to that of the opposite sex. And then there's people who are mostly attracted to people of the opposite sex. And then there's another group called all others. And that they say that because it's like the numbers are so small. But the people who fall within the sexual spectrum are, of course, those who are equally attracted to men and women, and also those who are mostly attracted to the opposite sex. So when you look at the bisexual spectrum for men, you'll see that 2/3 of those men on the bisexual spectrum identify as mostly being attracted to that of the opposite sex. And when you look at the same bisexual spectrum for women, you'll see that 3/4, 75% of women on the bisexual spectrum are mostly attracted to men. Which is interesting. But you would think that would be bad news for lesbians, but it's not. Because when you then look at sexual identity, which means that, okay, let's say you go into a bar somewhere and someone describes himself as being bisexual. If that person is a man who's describing himself as bisexual, there is equal amount of chance that that man will be attracted to mostly women as they are to be attracted equally to men and women. However, if you were to meet a bisexual woman in a club who identifies as bisexual, the odds are 66% that that woman would be equally attracted to men and women as they would be to only be attracted or to mostly being attracted to men. So that's actually good news for lesbians who are interested in dating bisexual women, and toss-up news for gay men who are interested in dating bisexual men. But that's not the most important thing I think about the study. I think the most interesting thing comes to when they discuss why there's a big jump in numbers, because another government agency actually did a survey, a similar survey in 2011, which is in the same time period of the CDC's survey, and they found a lot fewer bisexuals than this study did. And people discuss why that would be, and it turns out that it's how you kind of couch the question that matters how people identify. It turns out that if you first ask a person about their sexual behavior, like who have they had sexual contact with, and then you ask them about their sexual attraction, either one or the other, and then after one of those two things, then ask them their sexual identity, they are significantly more likely to describe themselves as bisexual after those questions, as opposed to just going up and asking, what is your sexual identity? Isn't that fascinating? Because what it says to me is that whether or not someone identifies as bisexual is less about, societal oppression, or whether or not they think there's going to be acceptance, or biphobia. It has significantly more to do with context. It has to do with the person putting the things together in their mind as if, the practice of sexual contact with someone of the same sex is somehow disconnected from the identity of bisexuality. So it's less about homophobia and less about being scared of what people will say, and more about just making the mental connection in their own head. That is fascinating. That's fascinating and has ramifications on many, many things if people choose. Anyway, that's the video. I hope you found it interesting. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, because the more you like it, the more people will find it, and subscribe. I do a lot of videos on the bisexual topic, but I do not do them on a regular basis. So in order to find out when a new video is released, you have to subscribe. And you also have to click that little button that says notify me when a new video is released. It helps. But until the next video, stay cooler, my bisexual friend. Stay cooler. Bye.